Okay, so when I was thinking about this, I've never actually recorded an introduction for this podcast. So, welcome to the Royalist King CJ podcast, where we talk about music of all kinds: pop, country, hip hop, trap, R&B, soul. Just overall, we're gonna take a deep dive into music, and just kind of see where we end up, and what conversations and what we can learn from the music that isn't so clear in the first listen. So, welcome to the Royalist King CJ Music Podcast, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm not heavily familiar with the Saint Harison. Saint Harison released a song. He's from the UK, which I do like. I think this is something that I do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do like the music coming out of the UK recently, because the UK has amazing information. But however, he's from Southampton in the UK. He's a singer. He's a British singer. I think that's remarkable by itself, right? And this is a song, and I've heard this song maybe 4 or 5 times, and I'm gonna be honest, this is a song that I think sounds great. The song is Ego Talkin, which is okay. So this is the thing: Ego Talking by Saint Harrison is a deep song. It's a very deep song, but it's so short. Now this did prepare me for any other projects he's coming out with. I think this would be a great project. This would be a great song to listen to if you're waiting for a project to come out. So we're gonna really talk into this. We're gonna discuss this. But real quick, let's see if we have any sponsors. We'll get right into it.
Atenção apaixonados por futebol! De Orlando a Los Angeles, entre em campo nos Estados Unidos nas suas próximas férias. Pronto para dar o pontapé inicial? Fique por dentro de jogos e eventos incríveis, além de encontrar tesouros escondidos em cidades cheias de aventuras, comida deliciosa e culturas diversas. Você vai gostar tanto que vai querer aumentar sua estadia além dos jogos. Marque um golaço na sua escapada futebolística. Acesse www.visitesusa.com.br.
Okay, so he says admittance is key to start the healing. But I don't want to eat that humble pie. No, I'd rather push all your buttons to start a fight. Which, this right here is just like the ego and Sigmund Freud's idea of ego, super ego. Like, this is that ego that people were like, your ego will get you in trouble, which is something. But he says, before I apologize, I blame it on the drinks, because we had some. I swear I don't care if you leave. No, that's not me though. That's just my ego talking, which is by far, like, when you have a song where you can be so in depth with yourself and so self-aware that you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna blame it on the drink that we had, because the drink was the reason I may have committed this act to something where I'm like, oh, he's self-aware. Okay. This is an artist I need to look to, because he's so self-aware of himself. And he says, baby, don't roll your eyes. Still me. Don't listen to my ego. I'm owning it tonight. My ego. I'm owning it tonight. My ego, which is, I think, one of the nicest choruses I've ever heard. This might even be his verse. But it's very much a, don't roll your eyes, I'm still me. Don't listen to my ego talking of, hey, I swear I don't care if you leave, because that's just my ego talking. That's just me thinking I can do better, even though I'm in a situation where I am intoxicated. And on that note, I want to note that if you are intoxicated, you're not going to make them, the point levels can be different, but you may not make the best decision making because of your cortex. I'm a buff in psychology, kind of. But he says, I know I said don't act. He says, I know I don't act like you're the heaven, like that you're so heaven sent, or I don't act that I worship you, or I don't act like that I really care about you. But that's not true. I said it's your fault because I can't take I said that it's your fault because you can't take a hint. Which, which we could argue is him being narcissistic, and blaming it on her or gaslighting her is the new term, I believe, where you kind of just, hey, you're making them feel bad about themselves because you feel bad that you've done a certain action, and so you rather deflect, which is so common, so common. I'd rather focus on the way you're not. I'd rather focus on the way that you're not so innocent. But I'm not sorry yet. I'm still intoxicated. I'm still high on a certain drug. I'm still here, but I'm not gonna admit my fault, because if I admit my fault, then you're in the right for blaming me. Even though you're in the right for blaming me, I don't think you should blame me for being intoxicated or me acting in the way that I did, no matter if that's cheating, micro cheating, or any way that I attempted to act. Now, this doesn't, if it's abuse, that I don't care. That's not a reason for it. And this might be the only time you hear my actual opinion on a certain situation. But abuse towards anybody because you're drunk doesn't justify you beating them. And now the song doesn't say it, but and this is the thing, and I've heard this before. It doesn't justify it for me. It doesn't. It doesn't justify the fact that people believe that they can act a certain way when they're drunk or high, but this in a song, it's more of an ego. Like, hey, I got more pride than you, so I'm gonna blame you because my ego or my pride can't take a hit. Which, if you're in one of those relationships or in kind of friendships, relationships, coworker kind of bonds, I would say leave, right? Because no one's perfect, but if their ego is the reason that they are being so hostile towards you, I hope this song is a wake up song or wake up call. But it is. I would definitely download this song so you can hear if they're telling you this, like, oh no, it's your fault. It's your fault that I am doing such and such actions, or the reason I'm cheating because you're not so innocent. You did so and so that made me feel like no. We're not, especially if you're over the age of 18. We're not blaming the victim. We're just not. I think that everyone must hold some accountability for certain situations that they put themselves into, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, if they're in a bad situation, they should just leave. It's not that simple. I wanna make people feel that if they're in a situation where they're with somebody in a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, where they're like, oh, their ego is so prideful that they can't even when they're wrong, they can't agree to it, or they won't admit to it, right? Because in order to change an action, you must admit that you're in the wrong. Now, a lot of people will say, well, they shouldn't have to admit it. They shouldn't, okay. But they shouldn't have to admit that they're wrong, and, the other person should hold them accountable. No. And no. At a certain point, you can't keep holding people accountable for a situation in which you think they will learn, right? I don't mean to shed light on this, and I hate it that this is my example. But if someone keeps hitting you, and this is gonna be tough because the next episode I plan on putting out for next week, we'll touch on this topic. We'll touch on domestic violence, but we'll also touch on other topics that I think will be harder to grasp. And I did that because I don't think opening this month with such heartbreaking news or a topic is the right thing to do. But it is like if someone's throwing a glass or something at you, because they're like, you did this, so it makes it right for me to cheat, or you did so and so, and I got drunk and I did so and so, so the reason I am punching you is because you did this, or you didn't give me attention, so I decided I was going to, I'm not quite sure, beat you black and blue. That's not a good reason. That's their pride talking, because they don't think that you're good enough to be with other people. That's not the case. I promise you, love isn't supposed to be that difficult. I'm not quite sure. But don't let the ego break you down. I just hate that. Oh, well, if they're in a situation, no, I hate that. I do. I think, and he says acceptance is key to healing, But if the person is doing this remotely, and if you're hearing this now and you're like, well, I do so and so every time that this person does so and so, okay, so can we try negative reinforcement? Can we take that? Can we take the activity that you're doing and seeing if that activity will affect you and your ego and your pride to go, hey, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this action will not happen if I take this if I take this out, if I take this behavior, if I take this action out, will this behavior less irritate me, or will this behavior do so and so less to me? Right? Will this no? Because this topic pisses me off, and it does, because there are a lot of people, and we're gonna have this conversation, and this conversation opens it up. So this song is 8 out of 10, no matter what, right? This song is great. I like that it came from the UK. I wish we would get more music like this, and more R&B music like this in America, but at the moment we do not. The question is, right? Why does because the common thing, especially for situations like this where people get their pride and their ego, is that they think they're like the best of the world. They think that their partner or their friend won't find anybody better, which I just don't believe that's the case, because I don't believe that you can think you're everything, right? I don't think you can believe that you are the perfect person in the world. I don't think that's a logical explanation. I think everyone has their flaws, their failures, and all of this, right? So you can't blame a person, or you can't treat somebody like a victim because you are behaving in a certain way. So if you're, and I hate that I'm bringing domestic violence into this, but it is a topic I'm currently studying for this next episode that's coming out next week. But you can't be like, oh, the reason I keep cheating, or the reason they keep getting abused is because I'm drinking and they do a behavior that when I'm drunk I don't like. No, that's not how that works. You take responsibility for what you're doing because you're causing harm to somebody else, and that hurts your ego of, oh, I should be able to do what I want to do. No, that's not how that works. That's not necessarily, hey, I don't like a way a person is, I think you should leave because I think I can do better. Cool. Let me ask you a question. And this is a question, because it's like, because this line says it. He says, leave. I don't care if you leave. And he says, that's just my ego talking. I'm just like, all right, cool. I don't care if you leave me. Quick question. If you're in a relationship, because this is what I assume, because he says, I swear I don't care if you leave, which we can say that as a domestic situation, but we can also say that's a friendship or a relationship. If you think you can do better with a person when you're under the influence or mad about something, I would reevaluate that friendship, that relationship. There's a time to reevaluate that. At the same time, and I'll hit these second points in this lyric where I kind of hit it. He says, don't act like you're so heaven sent, right? This is the thing. I have an issue with this. I have an issue with this, and it's because people are like, oh, well, I have so much pride on my high horse that you aren't perfect in my design, right? People are made individually the way they are supposed to be. When they have their own personalities, they have stuff that's independent from them, and not everyone's a collective, right? Not every person shares a collective mindset, a collective idea. That's not how that works, right? So if you want somebody perfect, I would say get a robot. If your ego can't take it, where you believe that a person can't react to how you're treating them because you say, I don't care if you leave, which is a sign of, hey, I don't care what you do, because I'm going to do me, which makes me to believe that it's cheating. This is another conversation to be had. This isn't a conversation that's going to go away lightly because you think you can do something and not have any and the person you're with in a relationship can't have response to that. Like that's why he says, baby, don't worry your eyes, which that okay, we could argue that idea is like, oh well, I don't necessarily care what you think. I'm being honest. I think I don't care if you leave because I don't. I'm owning it tonight. But he says I'm owning it tonight. I was like, hey, you're self-aware. You have an ego. So why are you continuing to treat somebody lower than you because of your pride? Which, and I say this as a person that doesn't have much pride. I do. I think I'm neutral in everything, and a few things I'm not. But there are a few things I'm neutral in. I'm just like, if you have a pride, somebody's gonna knock you down a peg at one point in your life, male, female, non-binary. Because not everyone's. You're gonna run into somebody that's bigger than you, and your pride's gonna have to take that hit because there's no way around it. So if you think somebody is beneath you, I promise you, there's somebody that you're beneath, right? No matter if it's physical, emotional, like there's somebody beneath. You're beneath somebody to somebody else. So if you think that person isn't perfect for you, and they're putting up with a situation that you're putting them through, and your ego's taking the hit, taking it out on them because your ego can't handle a certain thing, then we have a problem. Right, then we have a conversation that needs to be had. It's not something that's just gonna go away because you want to, because your ego thinks, I'm big and bad. No, I'm sorry, that's not how that works. This song is an 8 out of 10 for me. Ooh, this song is an 8 out of 10 for me. I think the song is great. I think it's very much from an aspect that people should be looking at. But I don't know. I don't necessarily know. Like I think this starts a conversation, but I'm not entirely sure. Like this is one of those songs I think that needs to be talked about. But because he says I'm not sorry yet. Like that line. I'm not sorry yet. I'm still gonna bring out my ego out. I'm still let my ego talk because I'm in an intoxicated situation, or I'm so much high on my own life, on my own pride, that I don't think I can be wrong. All that bothers me. I hate people like that. But anyway, look, if you love the episode, I would definitely go listen to Egos Talking. If you're in a bad situation, I would listen to Egos Talking. But if you are a person that treats somebody very prideful, I would definitely say go listen to Egos Talking, because this will open your eyes. This song will open your eyes and to show you that not everything requires your ego. Not everything will knock your pride down, and not everything requires you to have pride. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you didn't, I apologize. But people having an ego, is something. An ego talking by Saint. It's a song that I really do like. Like going into it, I liked it. It was informative. It was a song where I was like, this song is gonna make a person think, right? Or let them think about the behavior that they're committing. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week.